Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. Over the past, month? At least the past month, Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows has been embroiled in a bit of a discussion, to say the least, on the social medias and YouTubes and all kinds of video game websites out there. People asking questions and then getting criticized for said question, getting called nasty, nasty little names. Wikipedia is being edited. Japanese officials and historians coming out and saying this is true, this is not true. People getting upset, and all kinds of interesting things, to say the least. Over here, we got a few titles. Japanese pop song, Why Yasuke mocks Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows for featuring Yasuke. What else? My goodness, I can't even get this. Assassin's Creed Shadow accused of using Zoro's sword from One Piece as props. There was another article about they using the, the standard flag of a real Japanese organization in the video game without asking permission. Assassin's Creed Shadows booth receives sparse traffic at Japan Expo to the point where people were using some of the seats for the Assassin's Creed Shadows booth to watch. I believe it was a Nintendo exhibit going on, a Nintendo presentation going on. Not too good there. Even more so, Japanese YouTuber explains why the Japanese are calling Ubisoft to immediately discontinue. Now, this will be the interesting one, because are they going to listen? They're a French studio. They don't have to listen to Japan, unless, of course, they want the sales. They've already finished the game, so I don't see this happening. But it's just to bring up, there's a few people out there that aren't too pleased with what's going on. All the way, because you just had to, right, Ubisoft? Same-sex romance options granted, it's for both main characters, and yes, I believe this isn't the first time it's been done. But hey, in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's just add a little more fuel to that fire. Yasuke is going to be, well, maybe a little fluffy. Japanese political aid indicates Assassin's Creed Shadows debacle could escalate into a diplomatic incident. Now, this might be hyperbolic, or it could be genuinely serious, but it ultimately comes all the way back around to today, July 23rd. Ubisoft releases a statement to Japanese players amidst massive backlash to Assassin's Creed Shadows. Massive backlash. All the backlash surrounding it is going to be, they're going to be throwing claims. You just don't want a black man in your video game. You're upset because there's a black man in your video game. Nobody gives a rat's ass that there's a black guy as the main character. People are questioning the authenticity of a game. Now, to be fair, you will also have those out there of saying that it's a work of fiction. It's a dramatization. I've said this numerous times. However, what I will pose to you, dear viewers, thank you for joining me on this lovely little ride. It's not necessarily that it's just a video game. It's more along the lines of, why are so many people going out of their way to complain that people are complaining? A bunch of people just ask questions. Why are you putting a black man in a feudal Japanese game? Assassin's Creed Shadow is set in feudal Japan. You would think something that players have been clamoring for, have been asking for quite some time, and the main male protagonist is not Japanese. Sure, the other character is female. She is Japanese. But why would you decide to choose Yasuke? Yes, Yasuke is a real historical figure. There are people who will argue back and forth until they are blue in the face, they will die on the hills, that they will die on one way or another, on whether or not, what the validity is, on whether or not he is a samurai. That is not what I'm here to discuss. What I like to discuss is, why are they so adamantly lashing out at people asking questions and complaining? Oh, because it's the reason is they only have one argument. Oh, black guy, you don't like it, you must be racist. Like, no, they're asking why the main character isn't Japanese. But let's get on with this article, because we're going to read, Ubisoft put out an apology, a message to the Japanese public, the Japanese or potential Japanese players. We're going to read that one. It's a fun one. Video game publisher and developer Ubisoft released a statement to Japanese players amidst massive backlash to the company's upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadows. Interesting choice of title there, all things considered, but you do you, boo. Japanese players launched a petition at the end of June claiming the game, quote, is a serious insult to Japanese culture and history. Petition created by Shimizu Toro, hope I pronounced that name correctly, currently has 94,764 signatures. That's a lot of potential customers. Now, there is, of course, the possibility. These sort of petitions, unless they are adamantly restricted to Japanese residents, citizens, and some way to prove it, you take that 94,000 players as signatures with a grain of salt. Use a VPN, all of a sudden you're in Japan, you can sign this up. Is that a possibility? It would be foolish to think otherwise. It states recently lack of historical accuracy. Do you really want to get the argument of historical accuracy when it comes to, first of all, a video game that involves traveling through the memories in time of your ancestors, which leads to a whole other list of problems? I've heard the story has gotten away from the ancestry part, but still, it's a fantasy game. It's fiction. We all know this. So complaining about historical accuracy, I don't think historical accuracy is necessary. It is a dramatization. Again, cultural respect. Now that's an even bigger deal. Cultural respect. You had Yasuke smashing the antagonists, the NPCs, with a giant, pretty much a club, baseball bat, or a cricket mallet, more like it, with spikes, to what I could describe as hip-hop mixed with Japanese tunes, classic, feudal, ancestral Japanese tunes. With a mixture of hip-hop. Yeah, I would call that disrespectful. Has been a serious problem for game developer Ubisoft, which is scheduled to release Assassin's Creed Shadows. This game is based on a samurai of Japan, ignoring the fact the samurai is an upper class of the samurai class. Huh? The samurai is an upper class of the samurai class. Translation issue, I do believe. And should be my family or a person who serves you. Okay. It adds, in fact, William Adams, Miura Prodor, the first European to receive the title of samurai, was the one who served Tokugawa Ieyasu, I hope so, in the flag book for 250 stoning. We're going to go with translation problems here, lost in translation. The petition then declares, in such history, Ubisoft continues to misunderstand the essence and role of samurai. I would not see that as a big shocker. Ubisoft not understanding any sort of actual legitimate history and any sort of character for a video game they do. Yeah, I believe it. Or garbage games, repetitive, overly repetitive, and have been known in the past to throttle progression to make those little, quality of life microtransactions more favorable? Are they still doing that? Y'all let me know. Serious insult to Japanese culture and history, and can lead to racism in Asia. Okay, I'm going to be honest here. I think that's a bit of a stretch. I do. I apologize. It's a game set in feudal Japan. It's a dramatization. Let's not get high on ourselves. It then calls on Ubisoft to stop developing the game. I do not think that's going to happen, but give it a shot. We call on Ubisoft to immediately discontinue the launch. That's not development of the game. That's the launch of the game. I guess one and the same. Of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and show sincere research and respect. That's not going to happen. They don't respect anybody but the bottom line. Which is dwindling 13% loss with Ubisoft stock. Dropped off a cliff. That's a whole nother topic. Respect for Japanese history. Japanese YouTuber Shohei Kondo explained in a recent video uploaded why Japanese players are signing the petition. Disrespect. First, he noted that Ubisoft is promoting the game as historical. Probably not a good idea. How much of the advertising is historical? I think they've tried to come out and say, oh, it's just a work of fiction. Well, having to constantly come out and defend your game, you might have a problem. But at the same time, you're not going to be able to make anything perfect. There's always going to be someone to complain about it. the idea is to minimize the number of people complaining about it. 94,000 signatures. Multiply that by $100. We'll just go with the median. $100. That's a big that's a big market share. Let's see. Benoit, who is this? Director Charles Benoit conducted. Let's see. First, he notes that Ubisoft is promoting the game as historical and points to an interview. Here we go. With game director Charles Benoit. Benoit was asked, Crispin, that this is a familiar setting for gamers. How does this game differentiate its take on the setting? He responded, "We're at the end of the Sengoku era, in the turning point of Japan's history. Assassin's Creed is well known for its depiction of the history and accurate recreation of the world." Well, that's a bold-faced lie. Because if you played any of the Assassin's Creed history books, if you played any of the Assassin's Creed games, you would know there's nothing, very little, historically accurate. Maybe the setting, but some of the actions, activities, the events, that's the word I'm looking for. Some of these events don't really match up. So, it's known for its depiction of the history. Okay. And it's what players can expect with Assassin's Creed Shadows. We're showing real historical figures, and that's where it stops, in name only, such as Oda Nobunaga, and a lot of events that happened during that time. So you're not only playing in feudal Japan, but you're learning about the fantastic time period. This statement right there is a mistake and is what's getting you in the most amount of trouble. Because when you come out and talk about how historically accurate, how you're going to learn about feudal Japan, and then this happens and people disagree with you and you label them as Islamophobes. There's your problem. Maybe the advertising was wrong. Also, we're giving the opportunity to players to live not just one, but the two best fantasies of Japan, the samurai and shinobi. Except that, people are questioning your choice in samurai. Seems like it genuinely, based on the setting of the game, it genuinely comes across as an ideological checkbox decision. Now, why would people say that? You just don't like black people in your video games. It's a video game set in feudal Japan, right? So it would make sense that you have Japanese male character as the samurai. Someone who isn't a real historical figure, so that nobody can say anything about it. If you depict the samurai character as a legitimate samurai, with his mannerisms, his dialogue and behavior throughout the game, and as well as his mission choices, then you run the risk of nothing. There is no risk there. Do your due diligence with the character. Just make it make sense. But no, you decided to Google search Black Samurai in Feudal Japan, came up with Yasuke, which, if I'm not mistaken, again, comment section down below, correct me if I'm wrong, something I heard today. I believe the guy who wrote the book on Yasuke based it on the Wikipedia entry that he edited and referenced his book, which references the Wikipedia page as his historical evidence. The man who wrote the book that Yasuke is based on is the one that edited the Wikipedia page originally to say that Yasuke was a samurai. That seems kind of sketchy nonsense going on, but again, hearsay. It's what I heard. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I love it. We are protesting marketing DEI's historical distortion stemming from their disregard for Asians and their arrogance. Nothing but nonstop arrogance. Fucking white people. And discriminatory response to protest from Japan. Article continues. Ubisoft addressed this backlash in a blog post. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump over to this oh so wonderful Assassin's Creed Shadows team has a message for our Japanese community. Page 104. Are y'all ready for this? To our esteemed Japanese community, the message from the Assassin's Creed Shadows development team. First, we want to express our heartfelt thanks for the 94,000 signatures on the petition to get you to piss off. For your support for the Assassin's Creed series, which now has its own history that, dramatized, spanning almost 20 years. Over this time, we have explored various settings time periods, and characters, and yet couldn't seem to get feudal Japan right with, male, female, Japanese characters, whatever. From an assassin during the Third Crusade to a Viking in 9th century England, and countless more. For many of our team, creating an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan has been a long-cherished dream. Then why couldn't you get the characters right? It was so simple. All you had to do was make both male and female Japanese. And here's the thing. None of this would be happening. None of it. Absolutely none of it. That's all you had to do. Make your protagonist suitable to the setting that you created. Make them Japanese, both of them. But someone convinced you that, hey, wouldn't it be cool? We're going to do Samurai Champloo. What? The problem is most of the developers nowadays, the modern audience developers, don't know what the hell they're doing and end up dropping the ball and shitting the bed. Yes, but call us what you want. It is what it is. You made a game set in feudal Japan and decided we're going to take the only black guy in historical feudal Japan and stick him right in there. You took a legitimate historical character and didn't think people were going to ask questions. Let's continue with the apology or the statement, the message. For many of our team, I read that already. Since the announcement of Assassin's Creed Shadows, we have received many positive reactions. Where? But also some criticism. There is one article after another, one video after another, criticizing nonstop the decisions that have been made with Assassin's Creed Shadows, and they're not even talking about the title. Oops. I'm sure the Shadows is in reference to the shinobi character instead of the over-melanined Japanese samurai. Haha. But also some criticism, including from you, our Japanese players, who 94,000 of them aren't going to buy the game. We share your passion, no you don't, for history and deeply respect, if that were the case, you'd have done more research and, anyway, your care for the historical and cultural integrity. If you had more care and respect for the historical and cultural integrity, then you wouldn't have ripped off a design from Roronoa Zoro's sword. I cannot say his name. You wouldn't have ripped it off from One Piece. Integrity of your rich heritage. We would like to address a few points to clarify our intentions and creative decisions. I have a funny feeling this is where it gets exciting. I haven't actually read this yet. Overall authenticity efforts. 0. We have put significant effort, no you haven't, into ensuring the immersive and respectful representations of feudal Japan by stealing designs from other areas of... Anyway. However, our intention has never been to present any of our Assassin's Creed games, including Assassin's Creed Shadows, as factual representations, except for the statement that one of your lead designers said himself, looking for historical accuracy, including blah, 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 as factual representations of history or historical characters. Then why did you put one that was named in there? Make them NPCs, make them side characters, and do whatever you want. Nobody would have a problem with that. If you had Yasuke as a side character that you got a mission from or had to assist on something, again, I do not believe there would be this much uproar. Get your head out of your posterior. I caught myself. Instead, we aim to spark curiosity and encourage players to explore the incorrect and learn more about the historical settings we get inspired by and find out that your game is a complete and total full of shit as far as historical accuracy goes. Assassin's Creed Shadows is first and foremost designed to be an entertaining video game. Then why was there so much uproar and backlash when people asked you questions? Why? That's the big question. Why? And why does there always have to be same-sex relationships when characters traditionally aren't gay? What is it? Is that a fetish with game developers nowadays? They think the modern audience has this fetish. Moving on. Entertaining video games that tells a compelling historical fiction set in feudal Japan. So we're making a dramatized version of history. Stop complaining about it, you chuds, and buy our game. Our team extensively collaborated with external consultants, DEI groups, historians, researchers, and internal teams, who hired the DEI groups, at Ubisoft Japan to inform our creative choices and take our marketing department out for coffee and threaten them, terrify them with what might happen if they don't follow our suggestions. Oh, did I say that out loud? I thought I was thinking it. Despite these sustained efforts, we acknowledge that some elements of our promotional material have caused concern that you've tried to shoot down and disregard and insult within the Japanese community, pretty much the community of gamers across the world. For this, we sincerely apologize. Smoke and mirrors bullshit. These apologies don't mean anything. All game footage presented so far is in development, and the game will keep evolving until launch. I bet you they're not going to change the hip-hop Japanese music while Yasuke's fighting. Because, you know, black guy. They're racist. Black guy's got to have some hip-hop in there. In feudal Japan. Based on the constructive criticism that you've shot down and labeled as bigots and racist, we will continue our efforts. I think you're lying. Press X to doubt. Until we put this game into your hands and beyond. Except for the 94,000 people that signed a petition, probably growing every single day, every single week, of number of players who have no interest in feeding into your bullshit. We also want to clarify that while we have been consulting with many people, DEI groups, throughout the development process, they are in no way responsible. Then why would you consult with them for the decisions, unless they took your marketing department out to coffee and threatened and terrified them with what they... Moving on. Decisions that are taken by the creative teams in the interest of gameplay and entertainment. Consequently, we respectfully request that any criticism not be directed at our collaborators. Fat chance that's going to happen. Both internal and external. The collaborators, internal and external, are the ones that help you make your decisions. So the criticism is directed squarely and justifiably on them, your studio, your developers, and any sort of consultancy group that is involved. Because everyone involved makes the stew. 4-4, we're almost there. Creative liberties and historical inspiration. Don't try to market this as any sort of historical accuracy. Stop trying to change. Stop going out of your way to change Wikipedia. Although, yes, Wikipedia is not exact. Wikipedia is the Rotten Tomatoes of the information webs. Okay? It's there to look at, to pique some interest, to laugh at, but is by no way a reliable metric of anything. While we strive for authenticity, X to doubt, in everything that we do, lie, Assassin's Creed games are works of fiction, inspired by real historical events and figures. From its inception, the series has taken creative license and incorporated fantasy elements, of course, dropping on, we all know this, to craft engaging and immersive experiences. And make sure the black guy's gay. The representation of Yasuke, the gay samurai, in our game is an illustration of this. His unique and mysterious life made him an ideal candidate, because we could make the story up any way we saw fit. We don't care. Which is essentially what a dramatization is. When you have so little information, just do it right. Make him a side character. Make the main character in a video game set in feudal Japan a Japanese individual, someone from Japan. A Japanese person. How about that? There's a thought. How about do that? You want to put Yasuke in the game? Put him in the game. He's an NPC. You know, kind of like George Washington was in one of the other Assassin's Creed games. I think it was, what did the inventor? Michelangelo? God, I hope he's an inventor, but he invents stuff because I'm really going to sound stupid now. Okay. Can't wait to see the chat. The chat. Fucking hell, Steve. I can't wait to see the comment section. If you made it this far, God bless you all. His unique and mysterious life made him an ideal candidate to tell the Assassin's Creed story with as much dramatization as possible, with the setting of feudal Japan as a backdrop. You should have made the main character Japanese. Both male and female. You should have made them Japanese. Then none of this... This is the whole... Again, I said this before, I'll say it again. If you'd have just made the characters Japanese, both main characters Japanese, male and female, none of this would have been happening at all. Nobody would have made videos outside of your astronomically predatory, ridiculously overpriced pricing scheme, price point, with all the bells and whistles and, oh my goodness, 3 to 5 day early access on a single player game. Don't get me started. While Yasuke is depicted as a samurai in Assassin's Creed Shadows, we acknowledge that this is a matter of debate and discussion that people are trying to shut down wholeheartedly with accusations of racism and bigotry. We have woven this carefully, no, fuck you haven't, into our narrative. Well, maybe they have. We haven't seen the final game and just how much hippity-hoppity Yasuke is going to be doing. God, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm not going to play this game. I'm just going to watch other people play it. Blah, blah, blah. We have woven this carefully into our lies. And with our lead character, the Japanese shinobi Neo, who is equally important in the game, then why haven't you shown her off primarily? That is the shame. Everybody's talking about Yasuke and not the shinobi. I say shinobi because I'm going to butcher her name again. Our dual protagonists provide players with different gameplay styles, which is something I've complained about. Something I will bring up. It's an Assassin's Creed game, but you have a samurai with a big stick just bashing things. That's going to be your brute force through all the puzzles. Doesn't really make sense in an Assassin's Creed game. We greatly value your feedback and encourage you to continue sharing your thoughts. Please don't do that. Respectfully. A lot of people do that and then get called istophobes. Anyway, while we understand that meeting everyone's expectation is very difficult, we sincerely hope that when Assassin's Creed Shadows launches on November 15th, players in Japan and around the world will appreciate the dedication, effort, and passion we have poured into it. The Assassin's Creed Shadows development team. Now that sounded to me like a whole bunch of nothing. Isn't that a wonderful message, a wonderful apology? Do you think they're genuinely sincere in their lovely, lovely little words? How many more discussions are going to be had between now and November 15th when this game ultimately comes out? How many more videos? How many more articles? I'm here with the popcorn to wait and see, to check it out. How much further is this this petition from the Japanese players going to go? Is the government will there be any government interference? Could this be a political incident? Y'all let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Leave a like, leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things that YouTube is begging you to do, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.